You will spend roughly 6 years of your life dreaming. 6 entire years trapped inside a hallucination your own brain builds and destroys every single night. And for over a century, scientists couldn't agree on why. Some still can't. For most of the 20th century, the answer felt settled. Dreams were your brain sorting through the day, filing memories, clearing out clutter, running a kind of nightly maintenance cycle on the same neural hardware you used to survive. It's a tidy explanation. It's also almost certainly incomplete. Because if dreaming was only about memory, it wouldn't need to feel like anything. A filing system doesn't need fear. It doesn't need a heartbeat. It doesn't need to chase you down a hallway that doesn't exist. Yet nearly every dream you've ever had came wrapped in emotion, danger, or consequence. That's not what memory consolidation looks like. That's something else. To understand why, you have to go back further than psychology, further than Freud, further than modern neuroscience. You have to go back roughly 2 million years to a brain that was rapidly getting more complex and more expensive to run. Every night that brain shuts off most of its connection to the outside world. Muscles go still, eyes close. Input from the senses drops to almost nothing, and in that silence something strange happens. The brain doesn't power down, it starts building. Not memories, simulations. Complete with danger, complete with fear, complete with consequence you actually feel. Which raises an obvious evolutionary question. Why would a resting brain, one that's supposed to be conserving energy, spend that energy constructing entire fictional worlds instead? The first serious attempt to answer this is called the threat simulation theory. The idea is simple, almost brutally simple. Dreaming exists to rehearse danger. Ancient humans lived in a world stacked with real threats, predators, rival tribes, environmental disasters, falling from a cliff, drowning in a flood, being ambushed in the dark. A brain that could simulate these events at night, safely, with no real physical risk, would get something incredibly valuable: practice. Researchers studying dream content across cultures found something that supports this. Threatening events show up in dreams far more often than they occur in real waking life. Being chased, falling, losing control of a vehicle, fighting off an attacker. Over and over, night after night, the brain rehearses catastrophe. According to threat simulation theory, this wasn't random. It was training. A prehistoric flight simulator running in your skull, preparing you to react faster and survive longer the next time danger actually appeared. This isn't unique to humans either. Cats twitch their paws mid-sleep as if running. Dogs growl at invisible threats behind closed eyelids. Even birds show neural firing patterns during sleep that mirror the exact sequence used while learning a song the day before. Across the animal kingdom, sleeping brains rehearse the exact skills their waking bodies depend on, which suggests this isn't a human quirk. It's older than humans entirely. It's a compelling idea, but it hits a problem almost immediately. Not every dream is threatening. Some are mundane, some are joyful, some are so bizarre they don't map onto any real-world danger at all. Talking animals, flying through a childhood bedroom, conversations with people who died decades ago. If dreaming exists purely to rehearse threat, why does so much of it look nothing like a threat at all? That gap forced scientists to look for a second explanation, one that could account for the sheer weirdness of dream content, not just the scary parts. This is where the emotional regulation model enters. Instead of training you for danger, this theory argues dreaming exists to process it, not simulate the threat, digest the feeling. Throughout the day, your brain absorbs an overwhelming amount of emotional information. Conflict with a coworker, anxiety about money, grief, embarrassment, longing. Most of it never gets fully resolved in the moment. There simply isn't time. According to this model, dreaming is where that backlog gets processed, stripped of its original context, and stored in a way that no longer overwhelms the nervous system. That would explain why dreams often recycle emotional themes from your life without literally reenacting them. You don't dream about the exact argument you had with your boss. You dream about being chased by someone whose face you can't quite see. Same emotional charge, different disguise. Brain imaging studies add weight to this. During the dreaming stage of sleep, the amygdala, the brain's threat and emotion center, becomes highly active. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logic, judgment, and impulse control, goes remarkably quiet. You are, quite literally, feeling everything and reasoning about almost nothing, which might be exactly the point. A brain fully guarded by logic might suppress the emotion instead of processing it. Dreaming may only work because your rational mind steps out of the room. There's a clinical clue that supports this, too. People who go through periods of intense sleep deprivation, especially deprivation that specifically blocks the dreaming stage of sleep, often show measurable spikes in anxiety and emotional instability within days. Take away the dream, and the backlog it was supposedly clearing starts piling up somewhere else. The mind, denied its nightly processing window, starts leaking that unresolved weight into waking life instead. But even this doesn't fully close the case, because it still doesn't explain the strangest feature of dreaming, the story logic itself. Why your brain doesn't just replay emotion but builds entire, coherent, moving narratives around it. Chases, confrontations, impossible physics that somehow still make sense while you're inside them. That question leads to a third and much broader idea, one that stops asking what dreams are for and starts asking what the dreaming brain actually is. Some researchers now argue that dreaming isn't a specialized survival tool at all. It's a side effect of something far bigger: the brain's constant, obsessive habit of building models of reality. While you're awake, your brain is never simply receiving the world. It's predicting it, anticipating footsteps before you see who's coming, finishing a sentence before someone speaks it. Every waking moment runs on a continuous internal simulation, quietly running just beneath conscious awareness, comparing prediction against incoming reality and correcting itself in real time. Sleep doesn't shut that machine off. It just disconnects it from the outside world. With no new sensory information flooding in to correct it, the simulation keeps running anyway, unanchored, unedited, building scenes with no outside world left to check them against. Under this view, a dream isn't a message. It isn't a warning or a memory file or a rehearsal for danger. It's simply what prediction looks like with the guardrails removed. Your brain doing exactly what it always does, minus the one thing that normally keeps it honest. This might even explain lucid dreaming, that rare, strange state where you suddenly realize mid-dream that none of it is real. If dreaming is prediction running unchecked, lucidity may be the moment a fragment of that checking system flickers back online. The guardrail reboots just enough for you to notice the room has no walls. And then, almost always, it slips back offline, and the simulation swallows you again. Which reframes the entire mystery. The question was never really why does the brain dream? The question was why wouldn't it? A prediction machine that runs constantly during the day doesn't have an off switch installed for the night. It has volume control. And in the silence of sleep, with the outside world muted, that volume gets turned all the way up. None of these three theories fully cancels the others out. Threat simulation may explain why so many dreams involve danger. Emotional regulation may explain why they carry so much unresolved feeling. And prediction may explain the sheer, uneditable strangeness of it all. It's entirely possible dreaming isn't one adaptation, but three overlapping systems, layered on top of each other by 2 million years of selection pressure, none of them designed, all of them kept because together they worked. What's left is strange to sit with. Every night, without asking permission, your brain disconnects from reality and keeps building anyway. It rehearses your fears. It digests your unresolved emotions. And underneath both of those, it keeps running the same relentless prediction engine that gets you through every waking hour, just with nothing left to correct it. You are not watching your dreams. You are, in a very real sense, still thinking, just without the one thing that ever kept your thoughts tied to what's real. If your brain works this hard every single night just to keep you sane, imagine what it's capable of while you're awake and paying attention. Subscribe and find out.